Hello and welcome to the Cloud Council. I'm Andrew Brinded. So, the purpose of the Cloud Council is to deliver actionable insights. That's for business, for IT, and specific to cloud computing. Today's discussion is about how to deliver major change in business process. I'm pleased to be joined firstly by Louise McCarthy, who is a Business Transformation Director. I'm also joined by Mark Aikman, who is a Digital Transformation Consultant. Let's move to the big question. So, the big question for today is how to tackle business transformation during COVID 19. So, my children are in the teens. Pre Easter, they were obviously sent home. They were trying to study at home, and the service from the school was frankly not very good. Then, during Easter holidays, we got emails about Google Meet, about new ways that they would be studying, about the fact that they had to be wearing certain dress code, turning up a certain day, about child protection policies and all this sort of thing. And I was amazed at how quickly the school had pivoted to a home environment and having that education. But Mark, when I look at IT generally being sluggish at this sort of thing in the past, business transformation takes ages. You're advising CIOs all the time. How are they going to learn to do business process transformation and not be sluggish and adapt quickly?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, and I think the current situation is a great accelerant of what is potentially possible. And you're talking about education, how they responded. I think you've seen in the industry, different industries, a wholesale change to how they respond to doing business. Obviously, a number of businesses are struggling to do any business whatsoever. I think there's a big diversification between those businesses struggling and those businesses who have huge demand, obviously food production, supermarkets, etc. But I think going back to the original question, I think, CIOs, it's a fantastic opportunity for a CIO. Why wouldn't you want to do it? Now, obviously, I'm biased. I would say that I've been doing it for a number of years, but I think it's a fantastic opportunity for a CIO to broaden their experience and also broaden their stakeholder management within whatever company they're working for, and also to build key relationships with the C-suite and their board, and to get a much fuller understanding of how their business operates.
Okay, but how do they do it, Mark? How are they going to adapt if these are CIOs who are used to doing application change over a period of time and now they got to do it at pace? How are they going to do that?
Yeah, I think it's a mindset as much as a execution piece. I think a lot of CIOs need to look at what their priorities are, and look at what they're currently looking at. Again, for me, IT's always been about the problem statement, and I think for me we need to move into the opportunity statement and how CIOs can make a big difference to the bottom line of companies and utilize the modern day tech, which can make massive accelerants in their business.
Okay, and Louise, when we look at the different types of companies at the moment that are facing different challenges, you've got, on the one hand, fast growth companies that are benefiting somewhat during this period, like delivery companies. And then on the other hand, you've got companies under significant pressure, like travel companies. What would be your advice to them in terms of the different ends of the spectrum and how they adapt to business change?
And I think over the years, I've undertaken a number of transformations in various industries, as I mentioned, HMRC, Aviva, and Belron, and they range from banking sectors to the service industry. But what I would say in terms of transformation and things I have in my kit bag in terms of transformation, in terms of what and how, can work from all of those industries. So, I mean, you want to ask the question, why do you need to do transformation? And the why answer in most cases will be answerable to all industries. So you want to improve the customer's quality and experience. You want to improve the employee's experience. You want to transform the way you're working to create shareholder value. And you want to be a disruptor before you are disrupted. So I think all of those reasons, I would say every industry is different in terms of some of the reasons, but the main fundamentals all remain the same. And if the ones that have actually gone through their transformation prior to COVID-19, hopefully are in a more stronger, sustainable position than the ones that haven't started. And I think probably just one final point I would add on that is when I've been doing the transformations, the first few months of doing a transformation has been painstakingly getting buy-in and support from the executive teams, the functional leads, and the employees, saying, well, why do you need to do this to me? Why are you doing this to me? And obviously, as I've learned through my transformations, you do it in a very different way. But the thing is, now, it's rather than why are we doing it, is how quickly can we do it? I think people have realised now, if they'd gone through the transformation, they would have been more adaptable in COVID-19.
Thank you, Louise. And Mark, I guess all of us who've worked in the technology industry for some time is used to thinking about disaster recovery policies, but that whole space has been completely redefined. I was reading an article yesterday about the end of the office and what it means, and also application availability has been redefined. So what do you think the impact has been on business process? How do you think that's changing in this new world?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think, it's been said probably any time, if we look back 5 years, 10 years, would we all be in the position we are now? Would businesses still be able to maintain their continuity? Probably not. I think, the advent of the cloud technologies and the collaboration technologies, I mean, Zoom and Teams and Skype and a whole raft of technologies that allow people to be able to work and collaborate, not only just from an office, which has always been that traditional kind of method, but also being able to work from home and still access key applications, all of their kind of processes that they need to do their job, and communicate and talk to their customers is being made possible through the advent of technology over the last kind of 5 years. So I think DR is taking a very different format, and I think for me, and then certainly in the industry I've just been at the moment, high availability of critical applications is fundamental. Being able to scale those applications quickly, but I think for me, companies now will both look at their physical assets and also their kind of technology assets to work out, how do I keep continuation in the event of something as dramatic as COVID, but obviously other natural disasters and other things as well.
Okay, and Louis, staying with a similar theme, but let's apply it to your experience as a non-exec in a challenger bank, looking at how you maintain disaster recovery, how you look at that application availability. How has it changed in a challenger bank versus a traditional, and how has it changed in a challenger bank during COVID-19?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question, and it's something that I'm quite excited about. I mean, obviously, spent some of my career transformation in a legacy bank versus a challenger bank, and one of the things that I struggle with in a legacy bank is the difficulty in terms of a transformation, because there's so many complex, non-integrated applications. And the agility to actually transform is very slow, it's bureaucratic, it's costly, any change just takes such a long time. Whereas a challenger bank is fresh, it's a green sheet of paper, and they've built on a digital system that's fully end to end, and it follows the customer journey on one system with microservices if they need to be a bit different. So I think in the COVID-19, how quickly can legacy banks respond to the government in terms of the small business loans versus the challenger bank? And I think that is proven of a disruptor will disrupt yourself or be disrupted. And if you haven't transformed quick enough, like some of the legacy banks haven't, then they will be struggling against some of the disruptors, and some of these disruptor challenger banks will be perhaps taken a bigger market share, in my view, because they are able to respond much quicker than the legacy banks.
That's interesting. So what you're saying, Louise, is basically their architecture is cloud native by design. It's agile. It's easier to build and change, and therefore to respond during these different requirements in the market makes it easier for them to do. Is that right?
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Mark. And to our viewers, thank you for joining today.